To date, an incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, because
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, this Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GB News does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now! It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
This morning, I removed the Conservative whip from Robert Jenrick after dismissing him from the shadow cabinet.
Kemi sacked Jenrick.
There he is, Robert Jenrick.
Nigel announced Jenrick, but then...
Hasn't changed his mind, has he? We can't find him. Do we play music now, or what are we doing? No.
When he did turn up, he teed off on the Tories. We've got the very latest on all of that. But in other news, big exclusive for you. Are human traffickers sending an armed militia to Britain? Plus...
Hi, how you doing? We're back and we're ready for it all over again.
Disturbing new information about West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner. On my panel tonight, we have got political commentator Emma Webb, we've got Tory peer Lord Bailey and ex-Labour advisor Matthew Larser. And I'll tell you what happened here. And what is this woman doing? Yeah, what do you think is going on there? How has she found herself in that situation? There's a sledgehammer, there's a car. What could have caused it? Anyway, get ready, Britain. Here we go. What an absolutely mental day. Next.
Patrick, thank you very much. The top stories. Robert Jenrick has joined Reform UK after being sacked by the Conservatives. Speaking after being introduced by Nigel Farage at a press conference today, Robert Jenrick says he first reached out to Nigel Farage in September, but didn't know that he would defect. The former Justice Secretary was sacked after his resignation speech was allegedly left printed out and hanging around. Jenrick says he won't call a by-election in his Newark constituency, while Mr Farage says he will not accept defectors after the elections in May. The Reform UK leader earlier said he'd been in talks with Mr Jenrick, though he denies a deal was imminent.
This guy, you know, if you look just this morning at Con Home, which is a big online page for Conservative supporters, is by far the most popular member of the Conservative Party. Him coming to us today is in many ways the beginning of the centre-right now beginning to form around the Reform Party. Well, they timed it. So I went live at 11 o'clock in Scotland to announce our Scottish leader, Malcolm Offord, and my press officer, Ed, ran up with a telephone with the announcement that had just happened, and I had to sort of put on a poker face and pretend I didn't know.
Kemi Badenoch says she's delighted to announce Nick Timothy as the new Shadow Justice Secretary. She told broadcasters she did the right thing by sacking the Tory front bencher, Robert Jenrick, adding it was something that I had to do, as even people in Reform told her he was about to defect. Labour says the row exposes the party in freefall, with Sir Keir Starmer accusing the Conservatives of losing control of their own MPs as they bleed support to Reform.
But the last straw, and what pushed me to make this decision, was seeing that Robert had plans not just to leave, but to actually hurt the people that he'd been working with. The public are tired of all of this psychodrama, all of this personal ambition, everyone trying to, harm the other person. I'm sick of it, and I'm just done. And I asked him to leave. We don't want people like that in our party.
The UK Foreign Office has said it's carefully considering a response to Russia expelling a British diplomat. Moscow accused the unidentified man of being an intelligence agent working undercover at the embassy in Russia's capital. The unnamed official has been given 2 weeks to leave the country, with the Kremlin warning it'll respond decisively if Britain escalates the situation. Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper spoke this afternoon.
We've seen this repeated pattern from Russia. It's not the first time that they have done this. They make malign and unfounded allegations against our staff, and we consider our response. But it's because we know about the hostility that Russia continually shows. That's why we take so seriously things like the threat from the Russian Northern Fleet. It's why I'm here in Norway as part of our cooperation in tackling the Russian threats.
And Ofcom has welcomed restrictions on Grok, that's X's AI chatbot, to prevent the generation of sexualised images. Sir Keir Starmer has made similar comments the previous day. The regulator said its investigation is ongoing to get answers into what went wrong and what's being done to fix it. The company has announced the Grok AI tool on X will no longer be able to undress pictures of real people. And those are the latest headlines. For now, more news in an hour.
For all the latest from GB News whilst you're on the go, get the GB News app. Scan the QR code now to download or visit gbnews.com/app.
Good evening. Here's the tale of the tape from one of the most sensationally dramatic days in this increasingly mental country of ours. At 11:13 a.m, Kemi Badenoch sacked Robert Jenrick.
This morning, I removed the Conservative whip from Robert Jenrick after dismissing him from the shadow cabinet. I was very sorry to be presented with clear, irrefutable evidence, not just that he was preparing to defect, but he was planning to do so in the most damaging way possible to the Conservative Party and his shadow cabinet colleagues.
Silence from Team Jenrick. Nobody could get hold of him or his advisers. Kemi was being asked to produce the cast iron proof that Jenrick was plotting to defect. And then this emerged. Wednesday evening, someone saw Jenrick's leaked resignation speech, apparently. They took pictures, they sent them to Kemi. They found out that he'd been to dinner with Nigel Farage. Kemi's inner circle met. They decided to sack Jenrick. Still silence from Jenrick. Nigel Farage comes out and admits they have spoken to Jenrick, but that nothing was agreed. Nigel was up in Scotland, unveiling Reform's new leader up there.
Thank you, Nigel, for that. No pressure whatsoever, but delighted to be announced today as leader of Reform in Scotland.
Still, nobody can get hold of Jenrick. There was a Reform press conference scheduled at 4:30 p.m. back in Westminster. Shortly before, rumours swirled that Jenrick will appear, 2 chairs on that empty stage. Nigel came out first and all became clear.
I had the full intention today to tell you how absolutely monstrous it is that elections for millions of people all over this country are being cancelled. And I just want to say thank you to Kemi Badenoch. This is the latest Christmas present I've ever had. And on that note, I will welcome Robert Jenrick into this room and into Reform UK.
And then, disaster.
Hasn't changed his mind, has he? We can't find him. Do we play music now, or what do we do? No. OK, folks, don't worry. I just had the thumbs up. He hasn't changed his mind. Kemi hasn't called him and asked him back. I just know where you've got to. I want to be changed your mind.
Have you ever seen anything quite like that? You want to know why he was late? Shall I tell you why he was actually late? So as Nigel was introducing him, the Tories leaked bits of his speech. And then Tory sources claimed that he was busy taking those bits out of his speech. So Jenrick, then when he did arrive, teed off on the Conservative Party.
Because the two main parties are rotten. They are no longer fit for purpose. They both broke Britain, and neither can fix it. Most of the Conservative Party in Westminster are in denial. Or worse, they're being dishonest about what the party's done. The Conservative Party in Westminster isn't sorry, it doesn't get it, it hasn't changed, it won't change, it can't change.
He then got stuck into members of the Shadow Cabinet personally.
Priti Patel, the Shadow Foreign Secretary, created the very migration system that enabled 5 million migrants to come here. The greatest failure of any British government in the post-war period. The Shadow Chancellor, Mel Stride, has rightly attacked Labour for hiking taxes to fund more scrounging. But there's just one problem. He was the cabinet minister who oversaw the explosion of the welfare bill. And it was him who blocked the reforms that are needed.
And naturally, he was full of praise for Nigel Farage.
Nigel was all too often a lone voice of common sense. When the first boat started crossing, who was in the channel saying that it was outrageous? They laughed at him. Well, they're not laughing now. Nigel has stood for the real change that we need now as a country for over a decade. Frankly, for most of my adult lifetime.
And here we are. The most popular member of the Conservative Party has been sacked, joined Reform, and now Reform has 6 MPs. Let's get the thoughts of my political panel this evening. We are joined by political commentator Emma Webb, Tory peer Lord Bailey, former Labour advisor Matthew Larser, and a late addition to this panel in light of today's breaking news, Reform UK councillor Jamie McIver. And Jamie, it's you I will start with first, please. Happy Bunny?
Yeah, I'm thrilled for the party. I think this is a huge moment, actually, in British politics. I think today the time of death of the Conservative Party was about 4:45 on the 15th of January 2026. The most popular member of the Conservative Party has joined Reform, and also Nigel announced his deadline for defections to our party, which I know will be welcomed by many members and indeed voters who do not want to see anything like a repeat of the last 30 years where you have politicians with broken promises. So I'm really delighted for my colleagues at Reform, and I'm also delighted for Robert Jenrick. As someone that joined the party myself, I know that he's now in for fun in politics finally, because it's a miserable place, the Conservative Party.
Sean, you were pulling a face through some of that. What's going on?
There's a great difference between Jamie, who's a good chap, and we regret you going, but you're welcome to Robert. Let's be very clear. If you listen to Robert's speech, all of those things that were said in his speech, they happened before he joined the Shadow Cabinet. I only highlight that to you because that shows you that this is a staggering piece of ambition. And if I was Nigel, I wouldn't turn my back on him. Because the point is, if he's so outraged about what went on, why did he join the Shadow Cabinet? And I used to praise Robert Jenrick because when he went for leader, he didn't do any sort of, sniping and all the rest of it. He went fair and square, but it turns out he's a very sore loser. The party wanted Kemi, they didn't want him, and he's done this for himself. And what Reform will find, this was someone who was quite frankly, in Tory world, was almost seen as he was a wet. He was quite frankly a lefty. Now, all of a sudden, he's Nigel's right-hand man. All of this is about Robert, which is unfortunate. And the thing about Kemi, which I think is important in relation to his speech, is she has fessed up and said the party did things wrong. I'll always tell you that. And she is the person to change those things. Robert never was and never will, because he will not stick to his guns. He has no real belief. It's all about Robert.
One of the things that Robert Jenrick pointed out in his speech was that he said that there was a Shadow Cabinet meeting that took place a few days ago. They were asked about whether or not they thought Britain was broken. Only 2 of them, I think he said, thought it was. The rest of them basically thought that everything was OK, or they thought it was broken, but they couldn't admit it because the Tories broke it. He also said that 2/3 of the Tory MPs don't actually want to leave the ECHR, therefore he had to leave. Do you think it's the right decision?
I mean, it's probably the right decision for him. I think, for the same reason that I also resigned my membership of the Conservative Party, moved over to Reform. I understand the reasoning. I think the Conservative Party's past it. I think many people are looking at it and thinking, it's dead. This thing can't be revived. It's gone too far. We've sort of got to the period of time of the grace period, and now it is effectively over. I think the thing is, though, that although I do think that Robert Jenrick is probably a very ambitious man, I'm sure you know better than I do, for him to then go and join the Shadow Cabinet, I don't think is suspect. If he really seriously and sincerely wanted to try and make a difference, to try and help get the Conservative Party back on its feet, that would be the right thing to do. I actually think probably what Kemi should have done is made him her Shadow Chancellor and kept him close, rather than putting him in a more minor position, alienating him, letting him going out doing all of these videos. So, I understand why he's made this move. Whether this is a good thing for Reform or not, I'm not entirely sure, because I think that there are people who have pointed out quite fairly, that they don't want the Reform Party to become Tory 2.0.
OK, what's the Labour view on this, Matthew? Because I'm kind of trying to get my head around how this really affects Labour. I mean, it's the most popular Tory, he's gone to Reform, but, I mean, Keir's toast anyway, isn't it?
Look, I think at 4:45 this afternoon, Reform started to die because they're trying to, just as Robert Jenrick's a fraud, who was elected to Parliament as a massive David Cameron supporter and had a convenient political journey. What we saw today is what some of us have been saying for a long time, that all this is the same old Tory party with a different colour, blue. Second in a week, Jamie, you can't pull the wool over the British people's eyes anymore.
It's a bit of an interesting
You're
position.
an ex-Tory, Tory.
It's a very comical position for you to take. You're meant to be representing the Labour Party and having a Labour government. You've done the opposite to what socialists would want to do. You've attacked the most vulnerable people in society with almost every decision you've done.
Robert Jenrick?
No, I'm talking about your government.
We're not here to talk about the record of the Labour government. I think the point I would really like... Your party is just the Tories with a different coloured logo.
Quite clearly it's not, because there's nearly 300,000 members. But more to the point...
How many of your MPs are
more to the point, I think
40% of your parliamentary party?
Sean raised a very interesting point about,
you won't answer that question,
ambition.
Will you?
And actually, I want the next government of this country to be ambitious to save the country. The country is
your party spends its time slacking the country. Your leader goes to America to talk Britain down. That whole speech of Jamie was about talking Britain down. Some of us believe in Britain. You believe in attacking Britain, which is what Nigel Farage does week in, week out. He bashes Britain. I believe in Britain. And to be fair, so does Sean and Tory.
Right, guys, can we stop talking over each other, please? Do you believe that he has had this dramatic conversion, Robert Jenrick? Do you believe it?
I genuinely believe that he wants to save this country like anyone that cares about this country.
Why did he say that?
I believe every word of his speech. I believe every word.
Why did you believe it? So should we believe his word when he said on the audio that's been released today?
Cut you off at the pass there, because a load of people in Labour supported Jeremy Corbyn, and now they're not his friend. So, you know, you need to... Not people... They wanted a second referendum, they didn't want a second referendum.
No, we went into an election for a second referendum. What we don't want to... We've had a bit of audio today, Patrick, where you've got your new person, your new member, you're saying, oh, it's brilliant, Nigel Farage couldn't even run a five-a-side team. He was right then, and his save his job, save his seat conversion is complete nonsense, and you know it. Your members are furious.
What does Kemi do to recover from this? Is there anything to recover from? Because, look, he was the most popular... Just by the polls, the opinion polls, he was the most popular member of the shadow cabinet, and he's gone.
So to be clear, I think Kemi did the right thing. She really popped his bubble. Look, what annoys me is a serious lack of integrity. Let's be clear. And just to address Jamie's point, if Robert Jenrick cares so much and can rescue the country, why can't Kemi? Kemi's far cleverer than Robert, and she's got far bigger kahunas than he has. The point is she will get it done. She is brave. But let's be clear, there's nothing to recover from. Because if you're Kemi, let's be real, you do not want this snake behind you on manoeuvres all the time. He was on manoeuvres. There's many people in the party who couldn't even look him in the face because of his behaviour. Because love the Tories or not, one thing you'll have to accept, we're much more of a unit than we've been for years. And that's despite the behaviour of Robert Jenrick. And the thing I will say about reform, right, I take my time not to slag off reform because I'm on the right as well. But let's be clear, they don't have a plan, they don't have a track record, and it takes more than anger to run a country. Often they're angry about the right things, but often they come up with the solutions that the Labour Party would come up with.
What are you saying to that, Emma?
Well, I'm not convinced that the Conservatives have a plan. And now I say this as someone who backed Kemi publicly in her leadership bid. I voted for her. I have a lot of respect for her. I think that she's an unusually authoritative figure in our politics. So I do have a lot of respect for her. And, this does, I actually think, increase the chances that she will get to the next general election without being ousted as Conservative leader. So in that respect, in that sense, maybe the long game does benefit her slightly. But I do think it is a massive loss to the Conservative Party because he was so popular. This is why I think she probably should have tried to keep him a bit closer. But just one small point that I want to make about reform and those who argue that this is Tory 2.0. And I think that reform should recognise that is a risk. You bring if you have an open door policy basically to the Tory Party, then you do run the risk of just looking like you're just replicating the establishment and you're just part of the Uni Party. However, on the other hand, they do have to walk a very fine line because they do need to bring in ministerial experience. In order to hit the ground running in the way that Trump has done in his second term, they need to have people in the party who understand how the system works and have been in it, have that experience and can teach those who are going into the system. So it is a fine line for them to walk, but I do think that the concerns that they are being a little bit too liberal in welcoming Conservatives is a legitimate one.
I think it's very right to make this point. Nobody dislikes the Conservative Party more than Nigel Farage and Zia Youssef. That's certainly my experience, and many other people. Well, I wasn't there either, and I'm supportive of it because it was quite a quick thing. But more to the point, we are the party that believes in controlling the country's borders, and we would be very disappointing to not be able to control the borders of our own party. So I can assure you that many people that want to come to Reform don't get to come to Reform. We are, the next election, we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity for this country to save the country.
Is that why you welcome the man who voted for the Boris bounce?
Labour.
Who's in the cabinet when the Boris bounce
next election is between Labour and Reform, or even more scary, the Green Party and Reform.
Jenrick, let's ask you a quick question. How did Robert Jenrick vote in the referendum?
Anybody who wants to save the country knows that Reform is the answer. Robert Jenrick has made that decision today, and time will tell if it was a good decision. I think it was a good decision.
You welcomed another Remainer who was sat in the cabinet while the Boris bounce happened, which we're sorting the mess out of the mess on immigration that people like Robert Jenrick left with the Boris bounce. And to answer, you won't answer the question, I'll answer it for you. Robert Jenrick was a passionate campaigner to remain in the European Union. Reform doesn't stand for anything apart from theatrics and tricks, and it's exposed itself to the British people today.
We stand for family, community, country,
no, you stand for bashing
this
Britain
country,
and being a
controlled
recycled Tory
borders
party.
and a return of enterprise.
It will be interesting to see the opinion polls.
Yes, it will be very interesting.
Where Reform are going down.
And Labour have got a good week next week, I can assure you. They're going to have a great week.
Right.
Will you unveil a councillor?
OK, well, there we go. Lively start. We've got plenty more of this, of course. It's time for the Great British Giveaway. It's your chance to win an incredible position in the Tory Shadow Cabinet. No, not really. It's £85,000 in tax-free cash. Here's AKB and it's a winner.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. What would you spend all of that cash on? 2026 could be the year you spend more time spending with an incredible £85,000 in your bank. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 9th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, still to come.
Britain is broken. Britain needs reform. And reform needs you.
Seismic day in Westminster. Robert Jenrick defected to Reform in the most dramatic fashion. But is this the end of the Tory party? Will former Tory MPs be Nigel Farage's successor? What's going to go on? I've got more on this at 10 p.m. But first, well, we were going to do this before it all kicked off, actually, today. But should Reform UK be banned from university campuses? So a new poll has shown that the majority of students want them to be banned. We have got a Reform person, in fact, Mayor of London candidate, I believe, also going up against a communist. So that should be good. Stay tuned.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight. Look, we've got loads more, of course, on that Robert Jenrick defection. I'm going to be talking to former Tory MPs, going to be talking to loads of people. I do also have a big scoop for you, by the way. It's a human trafficker we've been tracking now for months, and they have recently posted a video which appears to indicate they might be a big fan of bringing an armed militia over to Britain. So you're not going to want to miss that. But should Reform UK be banned from university campuses? It's time for that to head. Well, more than a third of students believe Reform UK should be banned from speaking on British university campuses. That's according to a survey conducted by the Higher Education Policy Institute. Now, it probably won't surprise you to know that just 16% of students polled said Labour should be blocked from universities. 12% said the Tories should be banned. In October last year, students at Edinburgh University pledged to boycott a newly formed campus group supporting reform. Last year, a talk at Cambridge University saw the former Tory Home Secretary Suella Braverman cancelled due to protests by student activists. There was a big one in York University as well, actually, the other month, I think, wasn't there? But despite all of this, more than 2 in 3 students said that they agree that universities should never limit free speech. Tonight I'm asking, should Reform UK be banned from university campuses? Well, going head-to-head on this now are Reform UK councillor Saffron Sims-Bryden and the National Campaigns Coordinator of the Revolutionary Communist Party, Fiona Lally, who went toe-to-toe with Suella Braverman last time I saw you. Thank you very much for joining us. Great to see you. OK, so, Saffron, I'll start with you. So why do you think so many people want you banned from campus?
I don't know. There might be a multitude of reasons at this point, but it's absolutely appalling. And this debate isn't a new debate. We've heard it for years about the Tories previously. This debate isn't about one speaker or one activist. It's about whether universities still believe in an open debate at all. We've reached a point where students say that they support free speech in principle, but they're happy to ban political views when they dislike the practice. And that contradiction is essentially at the heart of what's gone wrong across campuses across the UK.
Yeah, so, Fiona, I mean, the obvious criticism, I suppose, would be that it's not really free speech. The other thing would be snowflakery. So where are you on this? You want them banned, do you?
No, I think Reform UK and Saffron, they're the snowflakes. Look, I'm sure it's very upsetting to hear that the majority of students, majority of young people despise Reform UK, despise its politics, but that is the reality of the matter. And actually, as the report showed, it's not even just Reform UK. Young people hate most of the mainstream political parties or politicians, and I support their right to organise and mobilise against that. What we need to talk about is, why do they hate these parties? And it's because all of them, from Reform to Labour to the Tories, represent a system, represent capitalism, which is producing austerity, which is producing cuts, which is producing war, which is producing genocide. So of course young people hate the politicians.
But why not have the debate then, Fiona? I mean, you're great at it. Look, Fiona, one of the reasons I love having you on is because of how good you are at debate, about engaging people, making the argument for your case, putting other people who disagree with you on the back foot and trying to have that discussion. So why not allow them on campus so you could do that to them in person? Why just shut them down entirely, Fiona?
Well, protests, debates, this is all part of a political battle that is taking place. And I think that that's right. I think that the idea, by the way, that Reform in particular don't get an opportunity to share their views is obviously a bit of a joke, right? We know Nigel has his own show even on this channel. In fact, the point is, students are so sick of being exposed to Reform's politics that they're saying, stop coming to our campus, because people hate Reform and they hate what they're doing. And that's difficult.
But if a political party is lawful and democratic, it belongs in the arena to debate. It's not on for a blacklist. Universities don't exist to protect students from ideas. Their very existence is to test ideas, challenge them, and if necessary, dismantle them through different arguments. And as Patrick Christy said, you're well versed in this. You don't defeat ideas that you disagree with by banning them. You defeat them by exposing their weaknesses, questioning their assumptions and arguing against them in the wide open. And that's how we make intellectual progress. And that's how it's always worked.
And not very popular on university campuses. Young people don't want to hear them.
80%
and they don't want to hear Tories, and they don't want to hear... Sorry?
Okay. One of the things, Fiona, I would ask is, obviously you are massively against fascism, right? But the idea of banning people from campuses, not for any criminal views, but for their political views, denying them a platform to speak, bit fascist.
Look, I don't support bureaucrats or university management banning anyone in any way, shape or form. What I support is students organising, mobilising. If they organise a mass protest to kick an MP off campus, like students did at Cardiff when Jacob Rees-Mogg was chased off campus, or like in Bristol, we've just seen students and staff come together to stop the vice chair of Labour Friends of Israel showing up to that school to promote his poisonous ideas. That's a great thing.
Can I just say on that, he was, by the way, he was there for a school visit in his own constituency. I think the problem for him was more that he just happened to be Jewish and the vice chair of Labour Friends for Israel.
The Zionist who's supporting Israel's genocide against the Palestinians, that staff and students politically do not agree with, and they have every single right, and I support and encourage them to kick all Zionists, all of these people who promote these disgusting ideas.
So when you
about the politics that these people represent, this is about the politics that these people represent.
I get what you say, but Saffron, come back to them, because you know the other side of this now, I suppose, would it not, that actually the message here is that university campuses are quite a threatening and intimidating place for people who are centre-right or maybe even a bit further right.
No, completely. And when we talk of inclusion and how universities have become so diverse, they have become almost one-minded. They have lacked any sense of diversity of thought in recent years, especially when you look at the same polling 10 years ago. It's gone up to, I think it was almost 50% of people said that was a less tolerant place. And you'll find that a lot of right-wing or more centrist right-leaning people feel they often sit quiet, watching their peers dominate any conversation, knowing that if they express their views, they could lead to hostility or to be marginalised by their peers. I mean, in case for myself, I went on a date and someone found out I was at the time conservative, and I got milkshaked. So that's another thing that could happen. It is a question, and it's a real barrier to that inclusion on campus, because essentially the campus culture, and we do have to talk about how there's a self-censorship on campuses for many young people.
Fine. Just one point. Sorry, we are going to have to be a bit brief here, Fiona, I'm afraid. But I do put this to you. Fiona, can I just ask you this? Let me put this to you, right? So let's say, hypothetically speaking, Reform win absolute landslide at the next election, right? Just hypothetically here. And they decide to ban the Revolutionary Communist Party from every single campus in the country. You would obviously be dead against that, wouldn't you? But you are in favour of banning Reform. So can you see a bit of hypocrisy there?
I've never said anything about banning. I've spoken about organising on a mass basis as possible.
To hound them out of campus.
To politically make your stand and make your point. And the whining. I'm sorry, Saffron, whether you can get a date or not, that's really not relevant. What we're talking about is serious issues that are affecting young people, the cost of living crisis, the amount of debt.
Right.
There's been a lot in the news about the interest on loans that students are trying to pay back. And you come to GB News and say, it's bad that don't want to date me because I'm a Tory. Well, don't be a Tory and don't be Reform and don't be Labour, because young people don't like any of your politics, and you're going to get nowhere in your dating life, but also politically with young people.
OK, right, OK. Look, I actually, as much as I would love to just do a whole show on this, we are going to have to move on. So thank you very much, both of you, and good luck. And you never know, you might end up both debating each other on a university campus one day. So this is Reform UK Council. Yes, the Reform UK councillor, Saffron Sims-Bryden, National Campaigns Coordinator, Revolutionary Communist Party, Fiona Lally. Right, coming up.
He might not have joined at all, but you never know until the deal is signed and the hand is shaken.
Big day in Westminster. I want to know your thoughts. Was Robert Jenrick right to defect to Reform, or Reform becoming Tory 2.0? But before that, this Labour government is poised to cancel 27 local elections. 4 million of you will essentially be blocked from voting. Are they a danger to democracy? That's next.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Through the rest of the week and into the weekend, there's some pretty unsettled weather spreading its way eastwards across the Mediterranean. As we go through tomorrow, there'll be rain, even some hill snow pushing through Portugal and Spain, also some heavy bursts of rain across southern France. All of that is going to make its way eastwards, and so although there's some dry, at times bright weather around at the moment, as we go into the weekend, we're in for some heavy thundery rain and also some strong gusty winds leading to rough sea.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Evening, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Things turning a bit drier over eastern England tonight, and that will allow things to turn perhaps a bit foggy through the night, and as things turn chilly, we may see some icy patches first thing tomorrow. But it's been a very wet day for some today. This area of low pressure crossing through England has been bringing some heavy and persistent rain. Still a lot of spray and surface water on the roads out there this evening, but all tending to pull away out into the North Sea by soon after midnight. Showers will follow into Wales and southern parts of England, the east of Northern Ireland and southwest Scotland, but otherwise turning dry. Quite a cold night across the north especially, some pockets of frost likely, certainly where there's snow lying on the ground across Scotland. Temperatures may well get down to -5 to maybe as low as -8 Celsius. So a cold frosty start across northern Scotland. Should be some sunshine. Could also be some mist and fog around. A cloudier start across southwest Scotland with some showers drifting in here, and the same goes for the east of Northern Ireland. In fact, it could be misty and foggy almost anywhere first thing, with some showers close to the south coast and into westernmost parts of Wales. But overall, certainly for central and eastern England, much drier than today. In the west, where we see these showers coming into Devon, Cornwall, western side of Wales, the east coast of Northern Ireland and southwest Scotland. Could be heavy, could even turn into thunderstorms. 1 or 2 showers possible elsewhere, but equally many places will be dry and bright with a bit of sunshine if the fog clears. Now, if the fog sticks, which it can do at this time of year, temperatures will really struggle, but generally we're looking at 6 to 9 degrees, so about average for the time of year. Into Saturday, and well, again, it's a bit of a messy one. Some mist and low clouds sticking in places. A few showers across northern England and Scotland, some around western coast, but many areas I suspect will be dry on Saturday. It should brighten up a little in some spots, and temperatures again about 5 to 9 Celsius. Bye for now.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, that's the video that we've uncovered from a human trafficker we have been tracking for months. Does that not look a lot to you like an armed militia that could well be on its way to Britain? But first, the government is expected to cancel at least 27 local elections, meaning 4 million of you will not be able to vote. Speaking to GB News local government secretary Steve Reed hit back at claims his party is denying democracy.
And it's not denying democracy. You know, I believe strongly.
That's what critics say, though. They say it is.
Of course they do, but they're wrong. They're wrong. It's speeding up elections to the new councils that will replace the councils that are being closed down. And I think that is sensible. We're looking at councils that will be there for the long term. Any elections that are delayed, it will be for a year. The elections would take place to the new councils we anticipate in 2027. But it does mean we can fix the problems that people are seeing in their streets faster, and that is why, after all, people take part in these elections.
Joined now by former Conservative Minister Paul Scully. Paul, thank you very much. They are literally denying democracy, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, it's pathetic to say that they're trying to speed up some sort of election process. Yeah, they're having to change these sort of things, but obviously that means that the incumbents are going to have a year longer. We had that during COVID with the Mayor of London. We had Sadiq Khan in for yet another year. So I've had that from bitter experience. Just let people have their say. It's clear that Reform are doing well. I'd love the Conservatives to be doing better, but at the moment, you know, they're making more noise, but it's still looking choppy in the local government thing. Let people have their say and let us see where the parties actually stand rather than just opinion polls.
The Tories are in on it, though, aren't they, Paul? It's not just Labour backing it. The Tories don't want these local elections either, do they?
There are some Tory councils, I've seen some on the South Coast that are saying exactly that are, you know, making the point exactly as you say, that are just ducking it. They should just say, no, we are, you know...
Just front up to it.
We are up for election.
Yeah, OK, great.
No two ways about it.
Absolutely. Look, I'm sure you probably expected this, but there is, of course, another small story in town today, which I would love your view on. I think we should just tee it up with this.
Nigel was all too often a lone voice of common sense. When the first boat started crossing, who was in the channel saying that it was outrageous? They laughed at him. Well, they're not laughing now. Nigel has stood for the real change.
All right, your views then, that big defection, Robert Jenrick to Reform, Paul.
Yeah, well, it's all been a bit of a bombshell, hasn't it? You got Nadeem Zahawi, who, you know, I was a good friend with going over the weekend, and now Rob Jenrick in less glorious circumstances, shall we say, less gracious circumstances. I think I was surprised at his speech because I suppose I was surprised. When in his small form videos that he's been doing them really well, but everything's negative, which is fine. There's a lot to carp about in terms of the country, but there's no positive vision. And yet, in his speech today, he was talking about the Conservatives, understandably, about what went wrong over the last 14 years. But Nigel Farage then said, well, he'll take people on if they, you know, if they're a bit ashamed of what happened and they admit what happened. Well, he admitted what happened, but he had no shame about him whatsoever because it was everybody else's fault in the Conservative Party, apart from the guy who was looking after housing, apart from the guy that was looking after immigration for many of those years. So I think he needs to take a bit more of the blame on his own shoulders and just not stop dropping his ex-colleagues into it.
OK. I mean, how much of a blow is this for Kemi Badenoch, though? I mean, the polls do show that he was the most popular member of the Tory shadow cabinet. So, I mean, it's a big loss, isn't it?
Well, I think the loss of any former colleague that's sort of like within the shadow cabinet, that's clearly a loss. But I think actually Kemi will see how it plays out. But I think it also plays to Kemi's strength in terms of having found a leader in Prime Minister's questions and getting a little bit more strength in her approach in opposition now. So it gives her a little bit more. So actually, she acted really firmly and very, very quickly. But we'll see where it shakes out.
You've got until May the 7th to join Reform, Paul. Are you planning on it?
Mate, I'm building my bunker, I'm afraid, Patrick. I'm too busy doing that. Putting my tin hat on and building my bunker. I haven't got time for any of it now. I'm very happy out talking about them rather than being one.
All right. Look, mate, thank you very much. Thanks for being such a good sport as well and talking about that second topic for us. Do appreciate it. All the very best. Take care. It's Paul Scully there, former Conservative Minister. Yeah, interesting to see the Conservatives' reaction. I mean, they have come out fighting. I suppose they haven't really got much of a choice, have they? But we've got some new angles, new information for you, which we'll be giving you at 10 p.m. on this.
Britain is broken. Britain needs reform. And reform needs you.
Right, then, where are you on this? Do you believe him? Do you think he's changed his tune? Do you think that Jenrick's a perfect fit for reform? Is he going to take over from Nigel Farage? Lots of questions. But before that, he's lost the confidence of the public, the Jewish community, the Home Secretary, the Health Secretary, and countless other MPs. No, I'm not talking about the Prime Minister. I'm talking about that Maccabi police chief in the West Midlands. But new, very concerning information has come out about the Police and Crime Commissioner for that area, who is the only man at the moment with the power to sack him. More on that in a sec.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here. GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
look, so in a few minutes' time, we're returning to the big news of the day, which is Robert Jenrick defecting to Reform. We've got a couple of new lines on that for you. I'll bring that to you. And, of course, the big one about us uncovering what we believe, what we know is a human trafficker, but him posting videos of what appears to be an armed militia. Are they on their way to Britain? But before all of that, despite losing the confidence of the public, the Home Secretary, the Jewish community, countless MPs, anyone with a brain, the West Midlands police chief behind the Maccabi ban is still clinging on. But yesterday, a report by His Majesty's Chief Inspector blasted him for fabricating and exaggerating evidence to justify banning Maccabi fans. Now, the power to sack Constable Guildford, lies with the West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner. Oh, good. OK, brilliant. Oh, no, because Simon Foster is currently refusing to act. And reports indicate that he was previously the chair of his local Momentum group, suggesting that he's a staunch Corbynista. In fact, he's also previously been pictured with Zara Sultana of your party. Fantastic. Joining me now is Stephen Silverman, Director of Investigations and Enforcement of the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism. So, how do you feel about the fact that this guy's got that power to fire the Chief Constable?
Look, it's concerning, but we have to believe that he will do his job, if only because the overwhelming size of this scandal leaves him no room for manoeuvre. It seems impossible for not just Craig Guildford, but other leaders in the force to stay in post, because it won't just have been Craig Guildford who will have done this. I mean, every single part of this scandal stinks to high heaven. The police force there were confronted with Islamist extremists who were planning to arm themselves and carry out a pogrom against visiting Israeli and Jewish football fans, and it would have almost certainly been worse than the one we saw in Amsterdam just over a year ago.
But I suppose the point is, do you realistically think that someone who was the chair of a local Momentum group and has cozied up to someone who is now a representative of your party understands the seriousness of the idea that there may well have been a Jew hunt going on in Birmingham?
It's concerning, and I don't know. I've got no idea what's in his head. You would think anyone with any sort of moral compass would understand what the implications are there. What I don't think he can resist, and if he does, it will be as much to his ignominy as it is to Craig Guildford's. What I don't think he can ignore is the sheer weight of condemnation from pretty much everybody. As far as this is concerned, I don't see how it's possible for him to turn a blind eye to it. And if he does, then I think he's going to be facing some extremely serious opprobrium.
Double standard here, I feel. Not from you, obviously. Just in general, if the same thing had happened but it had been reversed and all of the noise was that they'd basically bowed down to the Jewish community and allowed Islamophobia on the streets, this guy would have walked months ago, wouldn't he?
Yeah, well, look, if you think about what's happened here, they willingly played along with and amplified the anti-Semitic narrative that says Israel, as well as Jews who refuse to disavow Israel, are uniquely evil. And that narrative, by cloaking itself in the language of humanitarianism, persuades some that violence against Jews is a moral act. So Craig Guildford and every single one of his senior officers who have had their hands in this squalid mess by prostrating themselves on the altar of sectarian politics, what they have done is they've helped to actually make this country less safe for its Jewish citizens. Now, this issue is going to run its course, and it seems impossible to believe that Craig Guildford will remain in post. And I think attention now has to turn to the Islamist thugs and bullies who managed to manipulate the police in what seems to be such an easy way. That is the real issue here. And the even bigger issue is waking up to the fact that this kind of extremism and anti-Semitism is rife in the public sector, in the criminal justice system, in our hospitals, in our schools. It is everywhere.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, the only way that this could possibly get worse for Craig Guilford's reputation is if he loses even the faintest semblance that there still is, that he might in some way be a decent bloke, right? And the decent thing, everyone can see, the decent thing here is to go. Have at least a little bit of shame, a little bit of personal honour left. And with every tick of the clock that he clings on, it just evaporates, that, doesn't it? And you think, he's ruined his reputation, he's ruined his career, and then still, at the last minute, he still can't even do the decent thing. And if we don't believe that there's any decent people in the police force like that, it's a big problem. But look, thank you very, very much. We're going to have to get going now. But Stephen, thank you. Take care. Stephen Silverman there, Director of Investigations and Enforcement at the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism. West Midlands Police said, we are taking immediate action to address the matters raised in these preliminary findings. We know mistakes were made, but we reiterate that the findings that none of this was done with intent or deliberate distortion or discrimination. West Midlands Police is an anti-discriminatory organisation, and our planning for this football match was always about the public safety. Right, coming up at 10 p.m.
Britain is broken. Britain needs reform. And reform needs you.
Yep, there we go, got that. And also, we've tracked down a human trafficker who might be importing an armed militia.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Evening, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Things turning a bit drier over eastern England tonight, and that will allow things to turn perhaps a bit foggy through the night, and as things turn chilly, we may see some icy patches first thing tomorrow. But it's been a very wet day for some today. This area of low pressure crossing through England has been bringing some heavy and persistent rain. Still a lot of spray and surface water on the roads out there this evening, but all tending to pull away out into the North Sea by soon after midnight. Showers will follow into Wales and southern parts of England, the east of Northern Ireland and southwest Scotland, but otherwise turning dry. Quite a cold night across the north especially, some pockets of frost likely, certainly where there's snow lying on the ground across Scotland. Temperatures may well get down to -5 to maybe as low as -8 Celsius. So a cold frosty start across northern Scotland. Should be some sunshine. Could also be some mist and fog around. A cloudier start across southwest Scotland with some showers drifting in here, and the same goes for the east of Northern Ireland. In fact, it could be misty and foggy almost anywhere first thing, with some showers close to the south coast and into westernmost parts of Wales. But overall, certainly for central and eastern England, much drier than today. In the west, where we see these showers coming into Devon, Cornwall, western side of Wales, the east coast of Northern Ireland and southwest Scotland. Could be heavy, could even turn into thunderstorms. 1 or 2 showers possible elsewhere, but equally many places will be dry and bright with a bit of sunshine if the fog clears. Now, if the fog sticks, which it can do at this time of year, temperatures will really struggle, but generally looking at 6 to 9 degrees, so about average for the time of year. Into Saturday, and well, again, it's a bit of a messy one. Some mist and low clouds sticking in places. A few showers across northern England and Scotland, some around western coast, but many areas I suspect will be dry on Saturday. It should brighten up a little in some spots, and temperatures again about 5 to 9 Celsius. Bye for now.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
This morning, I removed the Conservative whip from Robert Jenrick after dismissing him from the shadow cabinet.
Kemi sacked Jenrick.
There he is, Robert Jenrick.
Nigel announced Jenrick was joining Reform, but then...
Hasn't changed his mind, has he? We can't find him. Do we play music now, or what do we do? No.
When he did turn up, he did tee off on the Tories, and I've got the very latest on that. It's the story making all the headlines on tomorrow's newspaper front pages. I'll bring you all of them before anybody else as well. But we have got another big exclusive. We've been tracking a human trafficker for months, and in the last couple of days, he's posted a video appearing to show an armed militia, armed to the teeth with AK-47s. That's not the only thing going on there. I'll have the full story for you at 20 past. On my panel tonight, we've got political commentator Emma Webb, Tory peer Lord Bailey, and ex-Labour Party advisor Matthew Larser. Oh, I'll also tell you what happened here. And can you tell me what this woman's doing? We've got a sledgehammer, we've got a car, but how have we ended up here? What brings you to do that? I'll tell you. Get ready, Britain, here we go. Massive defections and an armed militia on their way to Britain. Are you not entertained? Next.
Patrick, thank you. The top stories this hour. Robert Jenrick has joined Reform UK after being sacked by the Conservatives. Speaking after being introduced by Nigel Farage at a press conference earlier today, Robert Jenrick says he first reached out to Nigel Farage in September but didn't know then that he was going to defect. The former Justice Secretary was sacked after his resignation speech was allegedly left printed out and hanging around. Jenrick says he won't call a by-election in his Newark constituency, while Mr Farage says he will not accept defectors after the elections in May. The Reform UK leader earlier said he'd been in talks with Mr Jenrick, but denies a deal was imminent.
This guy, if you look just this morning at Con Home, which is a big online page for Conservative supporters, is by far the most popular member of the Conservative Party. Him coming to us today is in many ways the beginning of the centre-right now beginning to form around the Reform Party. Well, they timed it. So I went live at 11 o'clock in Scotland to announce our Scottish leader, Malcolm Offord, and my press officer, Ed, ran up with a telephone with the announcement that had just happened, and I had to sort of put on a poker face and pretend I didn't know.
Kemi Badenoch says she's delighted to announce Nick Timothy as the new Shadow Justice Secretary. She told broadcasters she did the right thing by sacking Robert Jenrick, adding it was something that she had to do. She also said even people in Reform told her that he was about to defect. Labour says the row exposes a party in freefall, with the Prime Minister accusing the Conservatives of losing control of their own MPs as they bleed support to Reform.
But the last straw, and what pushed me to make this decision, was seeing that Robert had plans not just to leave, but to actually hurt the people that he'd been working with. The public are tired of all of this psychodrama, all of this personal ambition, everyone trying to, harm the other person. I'm sick of it, and I'm just done. And I asked him to leave. We don't want people like that in our party.
In other news, South East Water is being investigated now by the regulator after tens of thousands of homes across Kent and Sussex were left without running water for days. Some customers were without supplies for up to 6 days. Supplies have now been restored to around 16,000 homes, but in an update earlier today, the firm said around 8,500 addresses were still without water. The outages were triggered by Storm Goretti, which caused power cuts and burst pipes. And the Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Machado, says she presented Donald Trump with her Nobel Peace Prize medal during their meeting today. She did not answer reporters' questions as to whether he'd accepted it. The lunch meeting marked the first time the two met in person. Machado had previously suggested she'd give the prize to the US president for having deposed former leader Nicolas Maduro, though the Norwegian Nobel Institute had said the prize cannot be transferred, shared or revoked. Those are the latest headlines. For now, it's back to Patrick.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more, or visit gbnews.com/truth.
Good evening. Look, very shortly, we've got that exclusive footage for you of what appears to be an armed militia that may very well be on their way to Britain. But before that, Robert Jenrick has joined Reform. Let's analyse what this means. Firstly, I think that Kemi Badenoch did the right thing doing this when she became aware that he was going to defect.
This morning, I removed the Conservative whip from Robert Jenrick after dismissing him from the shadow cabinet. I was very sorry to be presented with clear, irrefutable evidence, not just that he was preparing to defect, but he was planning to do so in the most damaging way possible to the Conservative Party and his shadow cabinet colleagues.
Look, she didn't have a choice. She showed leadership and guts, fair play. But what does it mean for the Tories? Well, the fact is, they are now a much weaker party. Robert Jenrick was the most popular top Tory by a long way. They've lost him, and there's no tightening that up, really. Kemi got off to a bad start. She was useless in Parliament initially. Do you remember the day when the farmers were protesting outside? She didn't even ask a single question about it at PMQs. Approximately 30% of members who voted for her in the 2024 leadership race now don't want her to lead them into the next election. She's rallied recently, but is it enough? Are they dying before our eyes? What does it mean for Labour? Well, they've jumped on it. They've put out clips like this.
But Jenrick, this man is a fraud. This man is not to be trusted.
I don't think Nigel is the bloke that you want to have running your kids' schools or running your local hospital or trust your savings, your pension, your small business to.
I mean, there's another clip of him saying he wouldn't trust Nigel to run a five-a-side team that's emerged this evening as well. The reality is this, though. Sir Keir Starmer is the most unpopular PM in history. His own MPs don't like him. He's predicted to lose his own seat, and he's resorting to cancelling local elections for 4 million people to avoid getting the kind of spanking that deviants normally pay for in Soho at the local elections. Let's be honest, he's toast. The Tories' top man joining the party likely to replace him is bad for Labour. Jenrick's defection is bad for Starmer. But what does it mean for Reform? Well, here's the positives. They've pinched the most popular Tory. They now have a potential successor to Nigel Farage. It tells everyone on the right that they need to vote for Nigel. He knows where all the bodies are buried in the Tories, bit like this.
Recent shadow cabinet debate. A conversation broke out. The question was put to the group, is Britain broken? I said instinctively, it's broken. Almost everyone said, it's not broken. And we were told, that is the party line. A few had a third position. It is broken, but we can't say so, because the Conservative Party broke it.
Expect a lot more of that in the coming weeks and months. Let's look at some of the potential negatives from Robert Jenrick's defection, shall we? Is it too many Tories? Nigel only unveiled Nadeem Zahawi a few days ago, a bloke who in the past said he would be frightened to live in a country run by Farage. Is Reform's head of policy, Zia Youssef, actually in favour of Jenrick coming on board?
Zia feels utterly betrayed by the 2019 Conservative government, and he wears it on his sleeve, and he pretty much tends to blame every single human being that was involved in it, but I'm teaching him the values of forgiveness.
Will there have to be a by-election? Well, by the way, if there was, Robert Jenrick would probably emerge with the safest seat in the country. Remarkable stats here you're looking at on your screens now. The predictions are that 97% of people in his constituency would vote for either the Tories or Reform. So I think he's safe, really. But one of the negatives is that it looked a little bit farcical today.
He changed his mind, does he? We can't find him. Do we play music now, or what do we do? No. OK, folks, don't worry. I've just had the thumbs up. He hasn't changed his mind. Kemi hasn't called him and asked him back.
Robert Jenrick's track record on immigration is probably going to annoy a lot of reformers. Migrant hotels welcoming Afghans. Look, he says he's made mistakes, he's apologised, he's changed, he's a new man, and actually he was a lot stronger than a lot of the other Tories. But what does it mean for the country, for us, for all of us? Reform are winning, OK? They've led the last 200 or so opinion polls. My feeling, my gut feeling, is that Nadeem Zahawi was a mistake, but Robert Jenrick is a win. Today, Nigel put a time limit on further defections.
May the 7th, folks, if you're in Parliament, is the deadline. If you're coming to us, do it before May the 7th. We don't want you after that.
Well, watch this space, then. Let's get thoughts from our panel this evening. We have got political commentator Emma Webb, Tory peer Lord Bailey, former Labour advisor Matthew Larser. OK, right, well, sure, no, I will start with you first on this. Ultimately, I think this is a win for Reform, isn't it?
Look, losing any Tory MP is not something we want to do. Let's be very clear about that. I personally am not that unhappy to see him go. I think he's been on manoeuvres ever since Kemi beat him. Kemi's built quite a united party. He wasn't helping at all. He's had such a conversion from a wet to the right that I wonder how sincere it is. If I was Nigel, I wouldn't turn my back, because there's a lot of personal ambition here. But the bigger thing is, what does this look like to people who are in between the two parties? I don't think Robert will make the difference for people. I think policy is more important. I think trust is more important. I think what our people are going to deliver. And the weakness for Reform is been around policy. It's talked a good game, but when it's come to policy, it's delivered very weakly. A lot of tax and spend, like the Labour Party. The councils it runs have struggled, quite frankly. They've all risen taxes as hard as they could. And if that's a blueprint for how they're going to run the country, I think many people realise they should vote Tory.
One of the things I think we're going to see more of, Robert Jenrick, a couple of revelations in that speech. One about this shadow cabinet meeting, apparently, where they were asked about whether or not Britain was broken. We heard what he said just then, that a load of them said that they couldn't admit it or didn't think it was, which I think most people will find a concern. His killer lines for me there was something along the lines of, the Conservative Party doesn't get it, they are not sorry about what happened. They haven't changed, and they're not capable of changing. I think that's quite damaging for the Tories, isn't it?
It is. I think, I mean, I think it wouldn't be surprising to anybody that they may be still taking this laissez-faire attitude of not thinking that things are quite as bad as they are, or not maybe owning up to quite how badly they've damaged the country. But we were just having a conversation before in the green room about this, and I was saying, you know, at this point it's like a scratch on a car that's been totaled, isn't it? You know, there's what more can you really do to damage the Conservative Party at this point? He does know where the bodies are buried, but actually I think it would be in the interests of reform to stay away from that kind of thing and to just focus on being constructive and actually giving the British public some hope. That said, I do think it is a bit strange, and you've obviously read out a lot of the examples there of, you know, Nigel Farage has previously said that he thinks that Robert Jenrick is a fraud. Robert Jenrick thinks that Nigel Farage couldn't run a five-a-side team.
Agreed.
And as you say, also the things that Nadim Zahawi has said about Farage. Now, maybe that was playing politics, but from the perspective of the British public, that makes people think, well, maybe we can't trust these guys. Maybe they say the sorts of thing that they think that they ought to say politically, and then they change their mind as soon as the wind blows in a different direction. And that is exactly the sort of thing that British public are sick of.
All right. Matthew, on this, I get the Labour line. I mean, I'd be saying the exact same thing if I was in Labour. Don't get me wrong, you know, people jumping ship, it's chaos. You know, reform's got no principles, the Tories are hemorrhaging it. 13 U-turns and counting from Labour now. Keir Starmer was a Remainer, wanted a second referendum, didn't want a second referendum. He was friends with Jeremy Corbyn. He tried to get him elected twice. Then he doesn't really like Jeremy Corbyn, never really knew him, barely met the guy. You know, I mean, you can't really have much of a pop, can you, at reform?
Absolutely. I mean, look, just something of an exaggeration there, Patrick. On the second referendum, Labour fought the 2019 election in favour of a second referendum, lost, and therefore, clearly, having been given the message by the British people they didn't want a second referendum, decided that matter was now closed. That seems a perfectly reasonable position.
When it comes to principles, though, Keir Starmer's had a few, hasn't he?
Look, I don't think the government... I mean, I don't think the government's performance is as good as it needs to be. And clearly, the government is not going to get re-elected unless it improves its performance in the polls. But I think this is great news for the government today because it shows that reform are the Tory Party 2.0. And interestingly, we keep getting this. Whether or not somebody in the shadow cabinet would agree with the phrase "Britain is broken" doesn't matter. What matters is who is going to be... If Nigel Farage becomes Prime Minister, who's going to be the Chancellor? You might not like Rachel Reeves. You know, I'm maybe at the fan end, but, you know, a lot of people don't like Rachel Reeves. But who's going to be the Chancellor under Nigel Farage? It's all about slagging off his old party. It's not about saying what his new party would actually do, and that's not going to sustain an election.
On this business about the shadow cabinet, we only have Robert Jenrick's word for that. And let's be clear, Kemi was very strong in the early part of her leadership, saying, yes, we did make mistakes. So I find it dubious the statement he's put out. And what he was very clear to do is absolve himself of any involvement in that. But this is the man who's been in the cabinet all along. And I go back to my point. If the Tory party is so bad, why did he join the shadow cabinet? All of the things he criticised happened before then. Again, self-ambition. And what's good about Kemi, she has faced the fact that the Tory party made mistakes, and she's the person to change them, and she's leaning into changing them. So I would challenge him on that.
I want to touch on that because I think Kemi Badenoch, if any of us were in her position and you were presented with irrefutable proof that somebody was going to defect, and maybe be critical of some of your other colleagues as well, as he was with Mel Stride, with Priti Patel, slagged a couple of them off, I don't think she had any choice. And when you call it the pub test, unfortunately I don't hang around that many pubs anymore, but I was out for lunch today for my birthday. Yes, I spent my birthday staring at Nigel Farage and Robert Jenrick's face for 4 hours, so it's fantastic. But there was a couple on the table next to us, and there's a lady there who I think probably votes reform. Very, very praiseworthy of Kemi, saying she didn't have a choice, she behaved like a strong leader who had no other choice, and she biffed him. So I think Kemi emerges relatively well from this.
I think she's correct. I mean, I personally would have enjoyed ejecting someone who was about to stab me in the back like that. But Kemi, if nothing else, she's a serious person. She's like, if he wants to play games, I'm not interested, sling your hook. And she's correct. What else could she do? Because let's be clear, if he left with any sort of integrity, it'd be an entirely different conversation. But he was planning, as a member of the shadow cabinet, to try and sink her. So she responded in kind. I think she did the right thing, and she's demonstrated when push comes to shove, she leads from the front.
The bad news for Kemi Badenoch, though, is the latest stats will suggest that 30% of the people who voted for her not that long ago now don't think she should lead them into the next general election. She did get off to a pretty poor start, in my view, you know, missing several open goals. I mean, she might as well have been playing up front for Manchester United when she was performing there. But I kind of look at this now and I think the message, clearly, that Reform are trying to get across is if you are on the right in Britain, I mean, Robert Jenrick literally said this, you have one option. It's to vote for Nigel, it's to get behind Nigel Farage, and it's to vote for Nigel Farage. Do you think that that really is how most people in the country on the right feel?
Yes. And I'm a prime example of that because I personally like Kemi. As I say, I personally backed her to be leader. The first time, really, that I've ever nailed my colours to a mast in a party political way when I wanted Kemi to be leader of the Conservatives. So I obviously think that she's good. But I think you have to be realistic, and it's very difficult to see how the Conservatives could do well at the next general election. I mean, we'll see with the May elections will be a good litmus test for that. But I think it's at this point, then the Conservatives are not doing well enough. It's not that they're not contrite enough. It's not even that they necessarily, you know, couldn't come up with good ideas by the time of the next general election. They have not been strong enough in opposition. Kemi did have a wobbly start, and she has been doing better in PMQs, but that is simply not enough given how absolutely dire the state of the country is with the cancelling of elections, with talking about scrapping jury trials, all of that. And let's face it, Robert Jenrick actually has been the most vocal on those things, and sure, he has the benefit of not being the leader of the Conservative Party on this. However, what I would say is watch me do a U-turn like Keir Starmer. I did say earlier that I thought it was a mistake on her part to have acted as she did. But I think you're probably right. I think she probably didn't really have any other option.
It's a good point. I know a lot of our viewers and listeners are making this point online, which is, you know, was there a way of trying to keep this in-house? Could she have tried to suppress it, tried to call him? I don't know. Yeah. Now, one of the big things, Matthew, that Nigel Farage was saying is that there's going to be a very high-profile Labour defection on Tuesday. I think I know who it is. Do you?
No. No, I absolutely don't know who it is. And let's see. And maybe so, you know, we've seen a few Labour councillors defect. I think what the most important thing is about this is it shows the limits of Reform. Reform have hit a ceiling in the polls around 30%. That's a lot more than my party's doing at the moment. You know, absolutely admit that. But he keeps going on about the elections on May the 7th. Let's look at the two things that he did today. The biggest elections are in Scotland and Wales. In Scotland, they unveiled a recycled Tory as their leader in Scotland, which is not the way you appear to former Labour voters, which is who they need to win in Scotland. And in Wales, if you think that Robert Jenrick and Nadhim Zahawi are going to go down well in Wales, they're not. And that's why they're now firmly second in Wales, and they're not going to win in Wales. So they're not actually going to fulfill all Nigel's dreams because he's too cocky in London, picking up his ex-Tories and proving they're just the Tory Mark II.
Very quickly, Sean, on this, can I just ask you this? Because I'm going to get shouted at otherwise. There are some rumours this evening about as to who exactly leaked this to Kemi Badenoch. Some rumours that it might have been someone from Reform trying to force all of this. Have you got any information for us about how this came to light?
I really wish I do, because I'd love to tell you. But if someone from Reform was trying to force it, they've missed by a wide mark, because they gave Kemi the opportunity to act early, and I'd argue that she's come out on top. And the thing I'd say about Reform have a lot to prove. You cannot run a country on anger. And the policies they've released have led very hard to the left. And the country cannot afford those policies and is well aware of that. So I think as much as Kemi had a shaky start, Nigel's have even shaky start because we've got no policy detail.
Final word, come on.
It would be in negotiation terms, it would be in Nigel's favour, wouldn't it, if he was in a weakened position when he does join Reform? I don't know.
Well, lots to unpack. Very keen to get your views on it as well, of course. Thank you very much. There's going to be more on this. I'm looking forward to 10:30 because that's when all the front pages emerge, and there will be other little snippets in there which will bring them to you. But yes, it's the Great British Giveaway now. 85 grand in tax-free cash. Here's how you can be in it to win it.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. What would you spend all of that cash on? 2026 could be the year you spend more time spending with an incredible £85,000 in your bank. Just make sure you don't miss out. debate. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 9th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, we'll bring you all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages very, very shortly, clearly dominated by Robert Jenrick's dramatic defection to reform. I think there is a little bit more detail in the Times, actually, about how this came to be, so we'll bring that to you. But first... It's a big exclusive. We've been tracking a human trafficker for months, and we have reason to believe that they might be sending an armed militia to Britain. And also, I have some news for you about new tactics. Well, old tactics, but they are reinvigorating. You're not going to want to miss that. That's next.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
The University of Bristol has been threatened with legal action by a leading academic who led a recent government review into sex and gender data collection.
Well, Professor Alice Sullivan claims her freedom of speech was restricted after a talk she gave was disrupted by a trans rights protest.
Protesters actually scaled the walls of the building. We were in a first-floor lecture theatre, and they climbed the walls in order to bang on the windows and sort of howl through the windows. It felt incredibly surreal in there. It was like some kind of zombie apocalypse. And they were setting off fire alarms to very loudly disrupt my talk. Eventually, we had to all move to another lecture theatre. And I learned afterwards that people trying to attend the talk had been severely disrupted by protesters who were not asked to stand behind barriers or anything like that. They were just allowed to intimidate and obstruct people who had come to hear me speak.
It sounds like a fairly severe dereliction of duty on behalf of the university. I mean, obviously everyone has a right to protest anything, and you'd think at a university anyone would have a right to give a talk, and yet there is this sort of heckler's veto that some try to play to try and keep out ideas with which they disagree. I mean, it seems to just go against the fundamental ethos of what higher education should be in this country.
That's absolutely right. I mean, I fully support people's right to peaceful protest, but this was not a peaceful protest. It was really quite violent.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, GB News can exclusively reveal that people smugglers are posing with videos with guns, making a mockery of the Labour government's new TikTok channel. This week, Labour decided to take to TikTok to deter illegal migrants. obvious flaw there, the videos aren't in Arabic. Now, GB News can reveal that a long-standing people smuggler that we have been monitoring for months is posting content like this to their followers. Yeah, let's have another little look at that. So what you're going to see here, of course, is dozens of men sitting around in what is, I would say, clearly a Middle Eastern country, all armed with what look like AK-47s, and that is some sort of militia, isn't it? What do we think that this people smuggler's intentions are here? Anyone? We can also reveal that whilst the weather is bad in the channel, there appears to be a huge uptick in videos on TikTok, the same platform the government's using, tries to deter people. Huge uptick in videos on TikTok advertising illegal lorry crossings. And look at this one with the lads on top of the lorry.
جنكو كالي استلم الشغل يا صاحبي لو ما فاطر اوعى تغاطر.
There you go. They've just changed tactics, quite literally, with the wind. This shows how utterly pointless the government's TikTok plan is. The other point, of course, is that we have no idea how many illegals come across on lorries or where they go. It's not like the small boats, is it? Now, this video from a few days ago shows a group of apparent illegal migrants wandering around Toddington service station on the M1 after seemingly getting off a lorry from France.
What, just got out of a truck? You just got out of a truck? Have you just got out of a truck? Where have you come from? Why are you here?
Just think about this. You've got people smugglers boasting about armed militia groups, armed to the teeth. Then you've got a surge in advertisements for lorry crossings. And of course, we won't detect many people coming across in a lorry. Just join up those dots and think about how catastrophically dangerous that is. I'm joined now by the former Director General of UK Border Force, Tony Smith. Tony, what's your feeling when you see that video there of the human trafficker who is posing with videos of that armed militia group?
Well, I expect I'm as horrified as you are and many of your viewers and listeners are, Patrick. But I think, you know, we need to just take stock here. The Home Office and the Border Force, I don't, you know, this TikTok wasn't a thing when I was in the Border Force, but I do chair a lot of border security conferences around the world these days to keep up to date. And the analytics that you are doing is being done by law enforcement agencies. These videos are being monitored by people in government. I can't say specifically who is doing what in that respect, but there is a digital war going on right now between law enforcement agencies around the world and human smugglers. And there are a number of tools that are being developed, deep dive data analytics, we call it OSINT, open source intelligence analytical tools that I know about that could be useful. So I'm glad you're reporting these stories, Patrick. They are really helpful. I hope someone from the Home Office is watching, but I can assure you that there will be work going on, I'm sure, in any case, that you won't see in the public domain that's going on to try and track down what's going on in some of these videos on TikTok.
And understandably, Tony, much of the focus has been on the small boats, and I get that, absolutely. But I think people have probably been guilty, maybe myself included, of turning a blind eye on the lorry issue. And the reason for that, I think, is because we don't have... It's almost impossible to get accurate numbers, isn't it? Unlike a small boat, they get there in the channel, you know, you count them in. With a lorry, you often don't know how many people are on them or where they go or anything like that. When you put those two things together, right, the kind of armed militia side of it and the lorry issue and them getting off places like Toddington services, you know, how dangerous is this for Britain, really?
So for the lorry drops, I mean, I think one of the reasons they took to boats in the first place, Patrick, is because we did have Border Force teams, have got Border Force teams in the ports of Calais and Dunkirk. We have got search areas. We do pull a lot of people out of lorries over there on that side. Of course, some still slip through the net. And, you know, if you look at the best we've got, because we don't know, people just run off. But I mean, if they claim asylum, you look at the last set of asylum statistics, Patrick, 110,000 asylum applications, only 45,000 on the boat, only about 10,000 in the lorries. A lot of them came in on visas, Patrick. They were given visas by the Home Office to come here to study or work. That's the area I'd be focused on. We should not be granting visas to people who come here to claim asylum. We certainly should be granting them asylum if they come in on a different sort of a visa. So I do think lorry drops are a concern. It's not my main concern, though, Patrick. I'm still very worried about the boats. I'm very worried. I see all of your reports. You do a great job over there in Calais on the build-up of migrants. I'm sure it's the weather that's stopping them, and it's the fact that we don't know anything about them, really, other than this sort of intelligence when they turn up, because they have no documents, and we can't detain them, Patrick. We have to release them within 24 hours at Manston, and I think that is my major concern in terms of border security. I would like to see a lot more of them detained for a lot longer than they are, and a lot more of them being removed much more swiftly than they are, frankly.
Just very quickly, Tony, obviously the government's new thing about posting on TikTok, which appears to be entirely self-defeating as far as I can tell, because it's clearly targeted at a British audience, but those clips of the lads getting into the lorries, I mean, I could have played you 10 or 15 of them, and they're all from, like, the last 2 days or so. Is the government's new TikTok policy just completely impotent, do you think?
Well, the reason they've moved on to TikTok, they do this already, Patrick, on X and on LinkedIn. You will see Home Office videos of this sort of stuff. But what I think what their line is that a lot of the migrants don't necessarily use TikTok, to use X or
LinkedIn. Don't use LinkedIn.
They do use TikTok, and they don't necessarily watch GBNews, I'm afraid, but they do use TikTok. I think the idea is really trying to, to get that message out to the audience. But there are things they could do, like you say, putting it in Arabic and that sort of stuff. But I think that's what they're trying to do anyway.
Tony, thank you very much for your time, as always. Tony Smith there is the former Director General of the UK Border Force. We went to the Home Office. They said, we are cracking down on brazen social media advertising and introducing an offence that criminalises the online promotion of unlawful immigration services. Alongside the NCA, we are working with major social media companies to rapidly remove online adverts promoting dangerous small boat crossings. I'm just wondering which one of that group of armed militia is the neurosurgeon or the engineer. But anyway, coming up, I've got the very first look at tomorrow's newspaper front pages, and we do have some new information emerging about Robert Jenrick's defection to reform, including, oh good, who snitched on him to Kemi Badenoch. I'll tell you who snitched on Jenrick next.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Through the rest of the week and into the weekend, there's some pretty unsettled weather spreading its way eastwards across the Mediterranean. As we go through tomorrow, there'll be rain, even some hill snow pushing through Portugal and Spain, also some heavy bursts of rain across southern France. All of that is going to make its way eastwards, and so although there's some dry, at times bright weather around at the moment, as we go into the weekend, we're in for some heavy thundery rain and also some strong gusty winds leading to rough seas.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Evening, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Things turning a bit drier over eastern England tonight, and that will allow things to turn perhaps a bit foggy through the night, and as things turn chilly, we may see some icy patches first thing tomorrow. But it's been a very wet day for some today. This area of low pressure crossing through England has been bringing some heavy and persistent rain. Still a lot of spray and surface water on the roads out there this evening, but all tending to pull away out into the North Sea by soon after midnight. Showers will follow into Wales and southern parts of England, the east of Northern Ireland and southwest Scotland, but otherwise turning dry. Quite a cold night across the north especially, some pockets of frost likely, certainly where there's snow lying on the ground across Scotland. Temperatures may well get down to -5 to maybe as low as -8 Celsius. So a cold frosty start across northern Scotland. Should be some sunshine. Could also be some mist and fog around. A cloudier start across southwest Scotland with some showers drifting in here, and the same goes for the east of Northern Ireland. In fact, it could be misty and foggy almost anywhere first thing, with some showers close to the south coast and into westernmost parts of Wales. But overall, certainly for central and eastern England, much drier than today. In the west, where we see these showers coming into Devon, Cornwall, western side of Wales, the east coast of Northern Ireland and southwest Scotland. Could be heavy, could even turn into thunderstorms. 1 or 2 showers possible elsewhere, but equally many places will be dry and bright with a bit of sunshine if the fog clears. Now, if the fog sticks, which it can do at this time of year, temperatures will really struggle, but generally we're looking at 6 to 9 degrees, so about average for the time of year. Into Saturday, and well, again, it's a bit of a messy one. Some mist and low clouds sticking in places. A few showers across northern England and Scotland, some around western coast, but many areas I suspect will be dry on Saturday. It should brighten up a little in some spots, and temperatures again about 5 to 9 Celsius. Bye for now.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight. Let's give you all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. The Independent, Jenrick defects as gloating Farage taunts Badenoch. Then we've got The Guardian, sacked Jenrick defects to reform with fiery attack on failed Tories. Then we go to The Telegraph, Jenrick, Tories broke Britain. So that's their view on that. I'm just having a look at what some of the other what some of the other headlines on the Telegraph are. They go for Kemi has picked off a traitor, but may have alienated the faithful. Can I just say, in Patrick Christys' Britain, you would get metaphorically shot on sight for continually using all these traitor metaphors. I absolutely... Oh, I'm a faithful. Oh, I'm a faithful. Shut up. Anyway, let's go...
You're not going to do the celebrity version, then,
Oh,
if they
the
call.
Metro have bloody well done it as well, haven't they? Secret traitor. They've even put a little hood on him.
He looks like he's from...
You haven't seen... There's one to come.
Oh, there's not another one. Oh, the Sun. Oh, we've not got the Sun on this round. The Times, sorry. Jenrick defects to reform after sacking by Badenoch. So there we go. Right, OK, fine. So, now, the Times have said that they know a bit about who ratted on Jenrick. And they are claiming that it was a mole within his own team. So they say that a mole within Jenrick's own team tipped off Kemi Badenoch. Why would they have done that, do you think, Emma?
You know, I mean, any number of reasons. I mean, there could be personal reasons. You never know with these things. It's not surprising, though, is it? I mean, who else was it going to be other than a mole on his team?
But why would they do it?
It can't just be someone who'd stumbled across the...
Well, see, this is the thing. So this is the development, right? Because initially, and all day, it's been that one of Jenrick's team left it lying around and that someone... took a picture of it and sent it to Kemi, and now the Times are saying the Tories were passed a draft copy of Robert Jenrick's defection speech and his entire media plan by a mole in his team.
It could just be loyalty, couldn't it, to the party? Just loyalty to Kemi as the leader, loyalty to the rest of the shadow cabinet, thinking that what Robert Jenrick was going to do was wrong if he was going to throw the rest of the government of the shadow cabinet under the bus.
You remember, if you're on his team, you've watched him join the shadow cabinet, slate off Farage on many occasions and then pull this little stunt, and you just might have thought, you know what, this is terrible.
Could also be personal ambition, couldn't it, wanting to get in with Kemi?
Oh, yeah. Let's be clear, in politics, there's a very, very large possibility they had some personal ambition in it, but I'd like to believe it's someone just thinking, if Jenrick were an act of integrity, they would.
So one of the other issues...
I was going to do the traitor's metaphor, but I thought it might annoy you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've never watched a minute of it. I don't intend to either. Anyway, senior Tory sources also said that Badenoch's team had been, quote, monitoring Jenrick for months and were given details of 2 secret meetings with Farage in which his defection was discussed. And this was another issue that apparently reared its head today, which is that supposedly there was this meeting of the shadow cabinet quite recently. So with all of this in mind, Kemi Badenoch wanted to see what Robert Jenrick was like. They were doing some kind of strategy meeting as well. You know, he was behaving like there was absolutely nothing going on, which would make him an incredible actor. Yeah, and so there we go, really.
It's been an open secret, hasn't it, that he's been in talks with reform?
It's been a running joke.
And actually, that's very generous use of the British language, the Queen's English, or the King's English now, actually. Actor, many would say a bit of a snake rather than an actor.
You really don't like Jenrick,
Well, what it is, I don't like what he's done. Imagine Danny Kruger was sat on this chair now. I could still speak to him.
What's the difference?
Because Danny Kruger conducted himself with a little bit more dignity.
Well, Jenrick would argue, presumably, that his hand was forced. I mean, he woke up this morning and got sacked, so...
He had written the speech, though.
Yeah, he had written a speech, and let's be clear, all of these headlines are slightly wrong. They're saying he went because Kemi sacked him. Kemi sacked him because he went.
I think what he should have done was say, look, we've all written a draft. You know, one of those emails that you write and don't send?
Oh, yeah.
You know, where it's like, you know, oh, I'm going to say this to so-and-so, I'm going to say it, and then you just go, I'm just going to put that in drafts.
But surely that's got to be something that's common in politics, isn't it? Drafting speeches and things for all sorts of...
I'm not sure you drafted that scenario, leaving the party.
Speech,
Can I say, I think, was he trying... You know this thing about how he had dinner, apparently, with Richard Tice and separately with Nigel Farage? Was he being tailed by a private investigator?
No.
I'm not saying the Tories would have paid for that, but maybe, a newspaper or...
Unless you go to the Outer Hebrides, if you're Nigel Farage, you're going to get recognised.
There is that.
Come on. They probably even know what
I reckon there are quite a lot of fans in the Outer Hebrides.
And what it is the nature of the dinner. I mean, I've had dinner with Farage and with Tice, but I haven't left. And that's the difference, isn't it? People would have understood, when you're looking at Robert Jenrick, what's possible with a man who's had such a conversion, what's possible with a man who feels like he'll say anything to anybody to get forward. And that's probably...
So who's going to be this Labour defection on Tuesday to reform, Matthew? Do you think it's Glassman? Do you think...
Well, I mean, I've heard...
Do you think it's Kate Hoey?
That's one... Well, Kate Hoey's not in the Labour Party anymore.
She's independent, but obviously historically.
Yeah, historically, but I mean, you know...
He's billed it as a Labour defection.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a damp squib compared to this. I don't think it's going to be a serving member of the
you don't think he's going to be you don't think he's going to be a serving MP?
It doesn't be a serving MP. I don't even think it's going to be an ex-MP. I think it's going to be, as you say, it could be a member of the House of Lords, or it could be a councillor.
I think Farage made a big mistake today when he said he won't take any defectors after May. He basically blocked all the Labour defectors he could have done. Because if you're a Labour MP today, you're sitting in a party with a huge majority. The thing that might make you nervous is when you get near the election and the polls haven't changed, but he's discounted having them. That is a huge mistake.
I mean, sorry.
Yeah, I don't think in practice. Well, I mean, if a Labour MP wanted to, or a senior Labour MP wanted to defect, I also think probably he was addressing the Conservatives there. I don't think he was talking to Labour MPs.
And the only thing I would say about all of this is that, you know, Reform is supposedly an anti-establishment party, and there's no shortage of people right across the country who have not been actively involved in politics before, never even stood for local election before, but have really got involved in Reform and have set up local branches and have been a big part of those local branches. And I think a part of that was that they thought that as and when an election came, whether it was a local election or whether or not it was the general election, that they might have a chance of becoming the candidate there or working with the candidate there. And I get that there are maybe certain vetting procedures involved in that make it very tricky, but I think that people thought that this was a new party for them, for a group of people who've been disenfranchised for a very, very long time. And if you are celebrating defections from the Greens, from Labour and from the Tories, Emma, I think that slightly undermines the point of Reform.
Completely. I mean, you're being undercut from above you, and it will give. I think it will actually probably deter people from wanting to throw themselves into this 100% because they'll be thinking, well, you know, I'm never going to be able to reach the upper echelons because this is exactly the same as the established parties. You've got these big figures coming in, but there are so many good people from around the country who would make excellent candidates. That said, I do think, you know, that there are a lot of seats that they've got to fill. There are a lot of appointments that they'll need to make to the House of Lords. Yeah. So, you know, finding very, very good quality people, they are going to have to reach out beyond the establishment defections.
All right, look, we've got, of course, more of this because we've got some more front pages coming your way. So we'll talk to you about that very, very shortly. And I'm going to reveal, I believe, why this woman is taking a sledgehammer to what I think looks a bit like a Vauxhall Corsa. Was it Prius? Anyway, we'll find out. It could be a Tesla. Who knows? Anyway, I'll tell you exactly why she's battering the living daylights out of her hatchback next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
I think it's really a shocking statistic to hear, but it's one that we've heard a lot of in recent years, that suicide is the biggest killer of men under the age of 50. Do you think the government are doing enough to try and reduce that number?
Well, I mean, look, it's a very difficult, very touchy subject. I've lost friends to suicide, so many of us, you know, and it's devastating. It ruins families, ruins lives, and it's so sad that maybe that person did commit suicide, could be here, if there was some bit of support, someone looking out for them. So, look, I'm not pointing to blame at anyone because life's hard, yeah, and it's only going to get tougher this year. So if anyone watching this wants to set up a little group on a Sunday, go and do it, you know. Look after your friends, look after your community. We're all there for one another. Let's all be there next year and the year after and the year after that. That's what it's all about.
And if people want to join in next week, how do they get involved?
Get yourself down to Thatcher's Arms in Brentwood in Essex. Be here for 8 a.m. We're going to have for a lovely stroll to the countryside. Bring your dogs, bring your mates, whoever. Come down here. We'll shake your hands. You're all welcome. Be a lovely day.
I actually think it's a really, really brilliant idea, I have to admit. Well, a GB News reporter, Bethany, who's normally in the studio with me, but I'm sending her out to a pub, also spoke to a few other people who were at the event to see what they thought. Let's have a listen.
Things like today are really, really important. You know, a group of blokes from all walks of life having various different issues that often go unspoken, whether it's, you know, addiction or marital issues or loneliness, social isolation, anxiety, depression, all those sorts of things. You know, it's nice to be able to come down here, have a chat with a bunch of blokes about the various issues going on in their lives.
I think it's really important for men. Hearing some of the stories today, you think you're alone all week and different things, and hearing some stories and talking to others today that you're not, you have to have a chill out from work.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Let's give you the rest of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. And gosh, I really hope there's no references to the traitors on there. What's on the Sun? Oh, traitories. They've gone for banished Jenrick. Yeah, whatever. Right, the Daily Mail. A Westminster day of drama. Stop fighting each other and end the Labour nightmare. Oh, interesting. So has the Daily Mail come out and basically said that we need to unite the right? Yeah, our borders are broken, our armed forces badly depleted in a world of peril. As Jenrick's defection rocks the right, the Daily Mail's message to reform and the Tories come together. Interesting, that. The I paper, day of poison and betrayal, as UK's right-wing feud deepens. The Mirror, Farage's party of Tory failures. The Daily Express, round us off. Jenrick joins reform with blast at rotten Tories. Be very interesting to see how the Daily Express reacts to this as a paper, because what they've taken to doing recently is publishing basically opinion pieces from Kemi Badenoch on their front page regularly. Right, so that's where we are with all of the front pages. Yeah, Jenrick joins reform with blast. That unite the right thing, just very quickly before I show you this clip, is that the only option, Sean? Them come together?
If we have to unite the right to beat Labour, do it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. The rescuing of this country is on the centre-right, and if that's what we need to do to beat Labour, do it.
Now, I guarantee you this. Or do I guarantee it? I think I guarantee it. Right. Labour and the Lib Dems are going to do a pact, OK? Ed Davey is not criticising Keir Starmer at all. It's ridiculous. He's not at all. It's soft.
He has on the things like the family farm tax and stuff.
Come on. It's pathetic. I think all the things that Socks and Sandals man could go after and he's not, right? Yeah. Ridiculous. There's going to be a stop Farage thing. The left are going to unite. The left are going to make a pact. Should reform and the Tories?
I think it's a bridge that needs to be crossed when we get to it. Like, whatever it takes in order to get Labour out, we need to do for sure. But I don't think it's clear yet exactly how the right should unite.
Zach Polanski said he's open to a deal with Labour as long as Keir Starmer jogs on.
Was that Polanski can jog on?
Well, actually, it turns out he can't. You've seen that clip of him and he can't really run.
I'm not the greatest runner in the world, so glass houses and stones.
It looks like he just heard about running.
But Labour's never going to do a deal with somebody who believes in pulling out of NATO and putting the country's security at risk. I mean, that's actually serious.
It was. Seriously, it looked like...
I would like to see this clip.
It looked like he was from outer space and someone had described to him how humans run.
That's kind of how I to be fair, you know, but I think the idea that you can unite the right, people need to remember that a lot of Reform voters are ex-Labour voters. They're not people naturally at home with the Tories.
All right, OK, right now, a woman's birthday wish to smash a car with an axe was dramatically interrupted when neighbours called the police. They feared a crime was underway. For Alicia Muller, turning 54, wasn't about champagne lunches or going on a cruise. No, her lifelong dream was wrecking a car with her bare hands. After years of pestering her husband, and, by the way, can someone please check on the husband, with whom she runs a driving school in the German city of Trier, he finally gave in and he got an old black Opel Corsa, which is Vauxhall to you and I, you know, not on the continent now, are we? And he delivered it to their house on Monday. Happy birthday, love. Here's a banged-up Vauxhall Corsa, armed with an axe, a hammer and even an army knife. Alicia set to work until a shocked passerby told police. Officers soon then stood down, later confirming that her husband fulfilled his heartfelt dream for his wife. Well, I suppose it's cheaper than couples therapy, which, let's be honest, they obviously need. So, there you go. Anyway, I mean, that's that. I just thought I'd show you that. Especially, we've got a slightly bizarre birthday wish, isn't it? But there you go. What kind of stuff do you ask for your birthday? Banged up Vauxhall Corsa?
Oh, it's always a pony, Patrick.
Right, OK. Yeah, just wondered, you know, different horses for courses, isn't it, I suppose? Horses for courses. Hey! Sorry, I hate myself. OK, don't laugh at that. Right, when we come back, loads of front pages, and we'll get stuck into all of them for you. But we're also, of course, going to find some other stories, because all the front pages are exactly the same. That's next.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Evening, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Things turning a bit drier over eastern England tonight, and that will allow things to turn perhaps a bit foggy through the night, and as things turn chilly, we may see some icy patches first thing tomorrow. But it's been a very wet day for some today. This area of low pressure crossing through England has been bringing some heavy and persistent rain. Still a lot of spray and surface water on the roads out there this evening, but all tending to pull away out into the North Sea by soon after midnight. Showers will follow into Wales and southern parts of England, the east of Northern Ireland and southwest Scotland, but otherwise turning dry. Quite a cold night across the north especially, some pockets of frost likely, certainly where there's snow lying on the ground across Scotland. Temperatures may well get down to -5 to maybe as low as -8 Celsius. So a cold, frosty start across northern Scotland. Should be some sunshine. Could also be some mist and fog around. A cloudier start across southwest Scotland with some showers drifting in here, and the same goes for the east of Northern Ireland. In fact, it could be misty and foggy almost anywhere first thing, with some showers close to the south coast and into westernmost parts of Wales. But overall, certainly for central and eastern England, much drier than today. In the west, where we see these showers coming into Devon, Cornwall, western side of Wales, the east coast of Northern Ireland and southwest Scotland. Could be heavy, could even turn into thunderstorms. 1 or 2 showers possible elsewhere, but equally many places will be dry and bright with a bit of sunshine if the fog clears. Now, if the fog sticks, which it can do at this time of year, temperatures will really struggle, but generally we're looking at 6 to 9 degrees, so about average for the time of year. Into Saturday, and well, again, it's a bit of a messy one. Some mist and low clouds sticking in places. A few showers across northern England and Scotland, some around western coast, but many areas I suspect will be dry on Saturday. It should brighten up a little in some spots, and temperatures again about 5 to 9 Celsius. Bye for now.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, all the front pages have got Robert Jenrick's defection to reform, but he's not the only politician with a new job. Angela Rayner has launched a new career as an after-dinner speaker, but given the fact that her voice sounds like someone dragging their nails down a chalkboard, I personally would pay not to hear her. We're going to talk about that. Unfortunately, as well, there's some brand new abortion figures in. I know, not very light, is it? But it's at a record high. I believe I'm right in saying about 1 in 3 births ended abortion. Tragic, that, of course. We're going to be talking about that, the latest on Maccabi Tel Aviv. And where's Prince William been today? I'll tell you.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome along to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition, breaking right now.
My message to Nigel Farage is Robert Jenrick is not my problem, he's your problem.
Yeah, the latest lines from Robert Jenrick's massive defection. He's not my problem, he's yours, says Kemi Badenoch, as Jenrick, of course, switched to reform. Well,
a few had a third position. It is broken, but we can't say so, because the Conservative Party broke it.
Are you braced for Storm Jenrick to start telling everyone where the Tory bodies are buried? I certainly am. And?
Him coming to us today is in many ways the beginning of the centre-right now beginning to form around the Reform Party.
Well, there's a very interesting story on the front page of the Daily Mail. They are now openly calling for the right to unite. Is that really the only option, do you think? Plus,
we've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions.
well, The Guardian are carrying the story that apparently Middle East allies are urging President Trump not to strike Iran. Plus,